Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Bayloric Boxing TV channel. As you know, thank you so much for tuning in. We got a big one. We've got a massive one. We've got a huge one. We haven't got Godzilla, but we've got King Kong. We've got King Kong Boxing. And we've got the manager behind Luis Ortiz, the man who's making a noise in the heavyweight division. His manager, JJ. Are you with me, JJ?
Yes, sir. I'm right here.
Okay, JJ. So, for people who don't know who you are, just give us a little overview as to who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm Juan Jimenez down here from Miami, Florida. And I'm Luis Ortiz manager, Juan Carlos Payanos manager, the 118 champ, and 6 or 7 other guys manager down here. We run a pretty close camp with the guys. We have our own training facility in camp, and I'm the main guy's manager, Luis Ortiz.
Okay, so how did you and Luis kind of come together first and foremost?
Oh, man, I've been with Luis since day one.
Okay.
I've done all Luis's career since day one.
From his amateur days, you're talking?
No, not from his amateur days. From
Okay.
United States.
Right, okay.
His first pro fight, to
Right.
all the way to his 18th fight when he got signed. I signed him to Oscar with Robert Diaz.
Okay. Was that an easy process for you,
Yeah.
or was that difficult?
What was that?
Was that an easy process for you to make that transition from where he was to getting him over with Golden Boy and stuff?
To get him over from amateur to pro, you mean?
No, from the pro to actually with Oscar De La Hoya. That transition, that
Oh,
process.
no. Well, imagine we had to go all the way to 18-0 before we even got interest. It's hard, Boxing is no joke. Sounds easy, but this is a no joke sport, man. You should know how this works. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
But as far as when it got there, I didn't have a doubt. That's the company I wanted, though. I've
Yeah.
always been kind of a fan of Golden Boy and Hopkins, Oscar, all them guys.
Okay, and tell us a little bit more about the whole King Kong, the King Kong boxing, and King Kong being Luis Ortiz. How did that name come about?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've always been good with being creative and part of names. I own Strictly Business Records, a record label down here in Miami, Florida.
Right.
Got a couple artists. I helped a couple artists like Rick Ross, Flo Rida, all them guys. Po Boy is a good friend of ours.
Okay.
We have artist Black Dada that was signed at Universal.
Wow.
And Luis, well, I was doing that and doing boxing at the end. I liked boxing a little more, and I eased off on it. And I would see Luis every time get in the ring and kind of transform himself. He would kind of change a bit and get a little. He would. Luis is a real smooth guy outside. Once he crosses the ropes, if you look at him, I would see him and I said, "Wow, he kind of transforms into this." He gets a weird look on him and he starts moving and twitching. And I used to mess with him, tell him, "Hey, little fucker, you look like King Kong up there. I wouldn't want to fight you." And he would laugh and laugh. And then when we started at the end, I said, "Luis, you tell you what, because I'm getting a lot of guys. I'm going to open a company. I'm going to call it King Kong Boxing. I want you to be King Kong, be the face of it, kind of like Oscar with De La Hoya's company. And you're going to help me in the future." Mind you, we didn't know he was going to get what he's at today, but we had that vision. You got to start with a vision.
Right.
And you'll help me all the rest of the way with the guys. And he said, "I love it, man. But are you sure the King Kong thing? I don't want people to, and he's a humble guy. He doesn't want to claim nothing." And I said, "Yeah, man, trust me, it's you." And he went with it, and it just fit him perfect,
So, the whole King Kong journey now, he's being dubbed as one of the most dangerous men in the heavyweight division, clearly by what he's demonstrating. And, up to this point, Luis has passed the test and done what he needs to do. His last fight was a dramatic, devastating knockout of his last opponent, which was pretty good. I guess that sends shockwaves around the world.
Matias Redondo?
Yes, of course. I mean, people saw that fight and people think, okay, this guy could be saying something very serious. Now, before we get to that last fight, we need to go back a bit, because the first time we really connected and started really talking, we were talking about King Kong, was going back even before, I think, the Bright Jennings, and we were talking about Bermace Deverne. Before that, even
I already know where you're going, Coyote.
Yeah, but Coyote. But even around that time, where the whole drugs allegation came up about Luis Ortiz, because I couldn't start this or do this interview without going back there, and I don't really like going back in those sort of situations. But
hey,
fight fans,
you know something? When you called me,
yep.
I said I'm going to interview you, and I want to know if there's any questions I can ask. And I said,
yes.
There's no such thing as privacy. You're better in life being honest and be open.
Right.
Listen, I knew that was coming.
Right.
If anybody really cares about boxing or the commissions, I was more upset with the commission. Lewis didn't have a steroid problem. I think anybody who has common sense, before they throw dirt on any boxer.
Right.
A steroid problem, because we went and got an endocrinologist because we were upset ourselves.
Right.
What Lewis had was I think a millionth of a maybe grain of salt, because it was a .0002 or a 3 over the natural 0.2 that your body produces.
Right.
So when they tell us, and I need you to understand this, they tell us only when we call them to get our money back from the sanction for the drug test, they say, oh, wait, but you failed. And we're like, what do you mean we failed? This is 22, 23 days later. So you could imagine our upset. We say, okay, we went and did our own test. We went to the hospital. Because I doubted Lewis, and I'm not going to doubt the commission first. I'm a realist. I don't know. Anything can happen. This is that we do his urine, we do his blood, nothing. I called back the commission, guys. They said, too bad. I said, what do you mean too bad? I thought your job is to take care of these boxers. Yeah, but that is our job, to take care of all the boxers. I said, yes. So you should have called us right when you found out 2 or 3 days later. Like, you should do to every boxer. Let's forget about my boxer. Why didn't you call them right back in and say, do a test, something's wrong? We go to court. They brush us off. We ask for the B part, which is a second test. They say they threw it away. So back and forth, I'm not blaming the commission. I'm just saying they got to take care of a little more of these boxers and these guys, because it's kind of not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that, because what they said made a point, so I understand the commission. They said, listen, if it's over, it's over. We can't accept you guys and not accept everybody else, because then everybody's going to blame them and say, oh, it could have been this, it could have been that. So that part I understand. But as far as steroid, there was no steroid problem I ever lose. A steroid problem wouldn't have come back a 0.001 over 3, whatever it was. That was kind of abusive, and it kind of almost ended his career.
Yes.
Because at that point, he didn't want to box at all. He felt betrayed.
Wow. I'm glad you actually said this, JJ, because...
what was that?
I'm glad you said what you've just said there, JJ. I'm glad you've cleared that up, because it's so typical on boxing forums. People just hear that someone has failed a drug test and it's, oh, he's a cheat. And people don't kind of think it through.
Listen, I don't mind people's opinion, because that's okay. There's always going to be, just like music, somebody just might not like you as a boxer, and they have other fans' favorites. But I just want to clarify to everybody to at least be fair, man, and understand all the sides, you know.
Right.
And use common sense. No steroid could give you punching power. No steroid could teach you how to box. So all those guys that were saying that, and the boxers, they should have shown it now, because all of them, not all of them, I take it back. Not many. There was only 2 or 3, and I'm not going to say who, but up the heavyweight that I took it kind of offensive, that said, oh, but he's a cheat. Why didn't you come fight him now? If he's a cheat, because you should have common sense, that didn't give you boxing skill. You could give somebody a truck of steroid, you ain't getting no boxing skill or punching power. It's like a baseball player. It shouldn't be allowed, but they should know how to read and write and know that Lewis is going to be a problem. So I'm just glad it's behind us, man, and it was really sad. It was a hard 6 months. The kid didn't want to do nothing, and he told me, I'm not boxing. I'm not.
Wow.
I got, his whole life fell apart, man. And you're talking about a guy that this is all he knows how to do since a kid, since he was 12 or 11, and this was his dream. And it got snatched from under him, you know, and from all of us. We worked hard to get there, man, and I wanted people to understand that, you know, be on both sides and understand that. And I never wished that upon no one, you know, and I told the commission, listen, I was born and raised here in America. If we would have been doing any drug cheating, because I had to say it, we would have drug tested ourselves. We have doctors. We have money. You know, we got a lot of money over here. We would have gone in and pissed and clean. And so I wanted them to take common sense into consideration, and they didn't. You know, and it hurt us. It hurt us. And it's my fault, because maybe if I would have done it, like now we're doing it even before we go. We did 2-3 tests before this fight. So if they do say it, we're still going to say, look, guys, come on. You know, what's the problems? But I just want to get past that and hope for the best, you know, and look forward to this big fight with Jennings, man. Jennings is a big deal for us. You know, we know Jennings is a real fighter. He proved it when he went 12 rounds banging with Klitschko and moving in on Klitschko. He didn't see the guy, you know. Talk about a guy that's got balls. Jennings is one of those guys.
Okay. I'm glad that we can move on from it, and I'm glad we kind of cleared that. But in terms of the after effect, you talked about being thrown and said people throwing mud at you, saying well, he's a drug cheat and all the rest of it. How have you been able to move on from that now in terms of continuing to build Luis's career?
Well, it's not moving on. He doesn't have a choice. This is what he loves. You know, he snapped out of on his own, and one day, because I had to let him. You know, you can't force someone to do something when he's devastated and he doesn't want to talk to you about boxing. And he's my friend. You know, I build a real relationship with these guys because I see them daily. And I go eat with them. I make sure they don't eat stuff because a lot of them don't know, especially coming from other places, to eat healthy, and they want to eat white rice. And so I'm kind of their friend. And he would tell me, don't talk to me about it. You could come see me. And it hurt me, man.
Wow.
It hurt me. This is a good dude. Luis is a real humble guy, man. Luis is never going to say nothing. He doesn't talk bad about, even now Jennings says, oh man, I hope it comes out good. He's a real humble guy. He's a professional boxer. This guy is here to make a living. He's not here bragging. You're never going to hear him mean mug nobody. He smiles. You know, he showed it would be done though. He smiled in the conference because he's doing this as a pro. This is what he does since he was young. He doesn't see this as a personal thing against boxers, you know?
Right.
So we moved on because there was no choice, man. He told me, Jay, I'm going to start again because I showed him, look, we're going to get suspended. We move on. It's not the end. It happens, and I had to show him how it happened to a lot of guys in the world. It happened to Olympia. Like, look, it happens, man. It's you against the world at this point. This is what makes great people. Absolutely. It happened to Tyson, I think, once in his life, Mike Tyson. People move on with that. You got to prove yourself like we're doing now. We're doing it like it's been happening now. You keep fighting, you keep winning. They're going to say he's right. You know, he came in better shape now than before. So, you know, people have to put A and B together and say, wow, the kid's right. Where's the steroids? There's no steroids there. Luis has always been built like that, though. Luis has always been in the same shape. It's not the same. He's got better now, but that's because as you become bigger pro, you just work harder, so he lost a little more pounds. But even his first fight, if you see that picture that they used that we got to take down, he was only 10 more pounds or 9 more pounds or 10 more pounds. Luis was never a fat slob or a real skinny guy. So, you know, I want people to use their common sense before they judge the kid, man.
This is great stuff. This is really good stuff, and I think fight fans listening to this around the world will hear a clearer story and a better picture as to what happened, rather than hearing rumours over the internet. They're hearing it from the manager's mouth, which is great. Let's move on from that. The reason why I was trying to contact you beforehand was because we were debating over Twitter about the whole Bermane-Stiverne Luis Ortiz fight, and I kept saying, Bermane saying he heard nothing about the fight. You were saying, well, show me the evidence, and I said, okay, here's the interview, and of course you saw the interview, and I was able to follow up. But now we're here now. What was all that thing between yourselves and Bermane-Stiverne? Because I kept hearing that fight was arranged.
Oh no, but it wasn't us and Stiverne. We never even spoke to Stiverne. We never get into it with a boxer personally. It was the media and Stiverne. And as far as we know, we don't know. We know his manager knew, and his manager wanted to fight for real. And remember, you're talking about guys that they ain't scared of nobody. The media could try to knock Jennings and Stiverne. These guys ain't scared of nobody. They're gonna face Klitschko. Come on, Luis has improved enough to scare them. But they're smart. Their managers and promoters are smart, man. We got to make money. Nobody wants to go in between me and you personally, and I wouldn't want to go against a guy like Wilder for free. Come on, you're going in against a guy that's coming to bang. Let's make some money for the guy, because that could start hurting your career, because then the promoters want to pay us less, and it becomes a hassle for TV. Everybody's going to use their politics to hurt us, you know?
Right.
So these guys ain't scared, man. I'm not going to knock them. Look, Jennings is there, man. Jennings ain't budging. Jennings is there and they're ready. I think he already came to camp already. He came down here to Florida to go to John David Jackson. These guys just and not them. If you let them, they'll fight for anything. These guys are fighters. That's what they do for a living. Their managers are pretty smart, and Jennings got a good team of managers, man. Those guys know what they're doing. I think they got now double or triple what they were going to get last time. Just waiting around, 2 months. It's smart, man. You need a good team next to you, man. That makes a difference a lot in a lot of fighters. I've seen a lot of fighters throw their lives away because they don't want to give a cut to their management or their people, and that hurts them. You can't do everything by yourself.
So let's talk about the journey from 0 to 18 and then signing with Golden Boy. How much impact, or what's the difference between, some people will say it's an obvious question to answer, but as a manager, and then me from the outside looking in, it's not so obvious. What's the difference between now signing with a big company as a Golden Boy and then trying to do it as an independent? Tell us the differences.
Man, listen, you can't do it as an independent.
Okay.
The independent, what you could do is, at least like us, or unless you got, remember, it's not money. 50 Cent got more money than everybody in the industry probably besides Jay-Z. You ain't going to have TV. It's relationships. It's TV's looking for somebody that's consistent. And you got to know how to make the shows for TV. TV's not going to just give you a fight and you don't know what you're doing. And as far as making his fight, if you look at his record, I did his first 9 or 8 before we kind of gave him half and half to some promoter with another company named Dave Promotion. But that company was good. It was another company called Dream Team. And they started kind of ruining Lewis's by making, like a lot of people do, what they were doing is not wasting money and try to give him easy fights. And what it did was hurting Lewis, and I would fight about it, but I couldn't do nothing because he was signed. And then Dave Promotion Company, which is a good friend of mine, he wasn't trying to argue because he didn't want to break relationships at the time. But big difference as Lewis came from Cuba, he fought 4 rounds, next fight 6 rounds, next fight 8 rounds, where the commission came and shook my hand, and they noticed me right away. They all knew me in Florida, all the commission. It's like, wow, that's how you do it. He fought Zach Page, he fought Kenneth Rutherford. This guy was going in banging, straight from Cuba, 6 months here. And a lot of people won't do that. After we got away from that, and we saw that they were kind of ruining his career, and we broke him away from that company. That company fell apart.
Right.
They were just bad people, man. You got to be careful. They sold us a dream, and we bid on it. We thought we knew it all, but sometimes you just get that day that you're off. After that, man, signing with a promoter is the best thing you could do. Just sign with the right promoter. So it has to be somebody to get along with, somebody that you could clarify what he's going to do with the kid's future. And then it's up to the boxer himself, man. Some boxers are great, but they have to be entertaining. I'm going to tell you something that I try to tell people and they don't want to understand, and you could tell the rest of the world from now on in boxing. When they say, shit, they don't pay me, or my God, I'm the pound for pound, like, I'm not going to say names, but you know who I'm talking about, and he's my friend. Well, he's not my friend. His promoter's a great friend of mine. It's not about being a great boxer. You got to be a showsman. Nobody goes to see a shortstop or the best center field. They go see the home run hitter, man. It's just natural. People are coming to see guys that come to bang. It's what fills the audience, It's what sells TV. So it's at the end of the day, it's a whole work of stuff, man, that has to get you through the door, man. This is not an easy sport, man. This is one of the hardest things. We do it because we love it,
Leonard Ellaby tweeted something recently. He says that people give boxers a hard time, but they really don't know. They really don't know what goes on behind the scenes and the sort of rubbish a fighter has to go through. Can you extend on that?
Like what? Give me an idea.
Well, because Lewis...
some people just don't like boxing. There's nothing we could do. They like MMA, and that's just going to be around the world. Some people don't like Subway. They like different food. And we can't do nothing about that. There's always going to be that in the world.
But Leonard Ellaby was basically saying that we don't really understand what really goes on with the fighters in terms of negotiations and the stuff a fighter has to do apart from just box.
Well, it's a business sport,
Yeah.
Promoters got to make sure that they're going to get some money out of all their fights that they're going, They're not going to, nobody wants to fight for free. They got families, man. These guys got kids. Brian Jennings everybody has a family.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys got to maintain that. They're not going to risk their lives. Much more these heavyweights, man. These guys are coming to bang it out. It's not a sport you want to do it for free, Not after so much sweat and tears. So I understand the promoters. It is hard, but people are always going to judge us on their own judgment. We can't do nothing about that.
Okay, let's talk more about Luis Ortiz and how he sees this fight against Brian Jennings in his mind.
He doesn't say much, man. He just tells me he'll fight. He knows it's a hard fight because I explained to him, look, this guy's going to come at you round for round for round. That's what he does. He moves. He's got a great stamina. He shook it off and said, "Okay." He feels it's hard to box him. He feels he ain't Klitschko. Klitschko's a great boxer as far as keeping you away because he's uncomfortable. He's 6'7". Lewis is gonna land 90% of his punches, and in boxing, if you're getting hit with 60%, 50% of the punches getting thrown at you, you're not gonna go far because it damages the body a lot. It damages your it takes away the boxing out of you. You know, look at Nonito Donaire and Rigondeaux. When he wanted to throw and you get hit 2 times and you miss a jab, you don't want to box no more. You don't want to go crazy. Nonito used to beat on everybody till Rigondeaux got in front of him. And it was a different guy.
Yeah, different skill.
Because if and that's what I think might happen to Jennings. Jennings might come out thinking something, but when you start getting hit and you're trying to hit and you don't hit what you get, or you're getting hit back harder, it becomes difficult. But we know it's going to be a war. We're thinking it's going to go to the 12th round. They're going to get banged. They're going to hit each other. They're coming to fight. They're coming to make a show, man. Jennings ain't stupid. Jennings is coming to fight. Jennings only knows how to fight. Jennings doesn't know how to run. He's a warrior. You see it in him. He's a humble guy, but he's a warrior. He's a street guy.
Absolutely.
We know Jennings is a man. You could tell by reading guys and how humble they are that you're dealing with a soldier.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I explained it to him. I read guys, These are soldiers, man. You got all these guys up here, a couple of them, and they're soldiers. They're coming to fight. A lot of them just talk shit. Again, not naming no names. Jennings, Tavern. These guys don't say nothing. These guys stay quiet, but they're coming to bang the day they come. We know that. I know that. That's why I'm doing his manager. I'm his advisor also, a bunch of these guys. I think I do more advising than management.
Okay. Mike Perez, I do have to bring the name up. Fellow Cuban, fellow Southpaw, slightly smaller than Luis Ortiz. Can you tell us the difference between Mike Perez and Luis Ortiz in terms of, apart from the Southpaws and from Cuba, what do you think are the distinct differences between Mike Perez and Luis Ortiz?
Not much, man. They both fight similar styles, probably. Maybe 10 pounds and more stamina and more muscle.
Right.
Luis is a harder hitter. Luis might be a little faster, but same guys. Luis is a lot bigger than him, but he fights. I think his part was also a management team or a need to have a team around you. I've never seen a real pro without a team. A lot of these guys start making it, and they abandon all their guys that started with them. And the new guys just want a paycheck. They're not there to care about you every day in and day out. So they walk in, they're not ready. They got a bunch of yes men with them. And I think that was Perez's problem, because Perez was a great boxer and he proved it, but then he'll gas out because people would just tell him, "You're ready, you're great." Somebody messed up a little bit there with him, because boxers only know how to fight. They need help. Everybody needs help in everything. There's no one-man army.
I'd like you to.
As far as them two, they're there. Luis is a bigger guy. I think Mike Perez is really not heavy. I think he's really a cruiser. For his size.
He's quite small in comparison. He's quite small.
Right. Where Luis is a real heavyweight. Luis is thin. He has 11% body fat. He's just a big bone kid. 6'4".
So, after, obviously, Jennings has fought Perez, do you think he'll use a similar strategy against Ortiz, or do you think he's learnt from that fight?
I don't know. I can't tell you what they're doing. I'm sure they're going to get ready as best as ever. That's why they went to get John David Jackson, who's a great trainer.
Thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.